As the colors change to fall, the shows just keep getting brighter on Global Voice Broadcasting. Shows about everything that matters to you, from love, living, and life. If you're talking about it, we're talking about it this fall on Global Voice Broadcasting. Don't miss a second.
Hello. Welcome to Actors Anonymous podcast. I am Sam Quiche. With me today is Jordan Burbank. How you doing, Jordan?
Doing good. How's everybody doing?
Good. We have a very awesome, energetic guest with us today, Suzanne Whang.
Thank you for pronouncing it correctly.
I was afraid I was going to mess it up.
No,
yesterday.
you did
That's
it
why I
great.
took the break.
You did great.
She is This is some of the stuff she's done. Television host, actor, stand-up comedian, MC, keynote speaker, political activist, minister, radio host, published author, stage 4 breast cancer thriver.
Thriver what?
In her spare time, she sleeps. She is currently starring from here on out. It's on Here TV, cable subscription. She also has numerous TV credits. Wow, you've been in the business for a good time and kicked butt.
That's right. I was just listening to that thinking, she sounds fictional. She must be lying.
If somebody has this on their resume, they either did it all or they did none of it.
Did none of it. I think she's lying.
Okay, so we'd like to start from the beginning. Where are you from?
I was born a poor black child. No, I was born in Arlington, Virginia.
Okay.
Which is close to Washington, D.C.
Right.
But I am a Navy brat. My dad was an engineer for the Navy, so we moved around a lot. So I went to, I think, 7 different elementary schools.
Oh, goodness.
So we moved from Virginia to San Francisco. We moved to Honolulu. We moved to Cambridge, Massachusetts. We moved back to Virginia. And then I went to college in Connecticut, graduate school in Rhode Island. Then I moved to Boston for 6 years. Then I moved to New York City for 6 years. And then I've been in LA for 15 years.
A little bit of a nomad.
Yes.
A little bit.
Little wanderlust. And you'll find that a lot of people in show business are military brats because, let's think about it, especially actors.
Okay.
When you are always moving, you're always the new kid in school. Mm-hmm. And you have to sink or swim. Either you have to make friends instantly because you're always a new kid in school, or you're going to be a wallflower and you won't ever have any friends.
Right.
So I chose the former, and I basically became, the mayor of the room. Hey, how's everybody doing, right? And that's what an audition is. An audition is you walk in,
right, and
you have to you're the new kid in school, right?
Yes.
And you want to be part of this, make them your family right away.
Oh, that's an interesting perspective.
And that's what I became really good at. And you know how a lot of human nature, I've noticed, for people who are not military brats, is to resist change and dig your heels in. I don't want anything to change. I feel very comforted by sameness.
Yeah.
I always want to go to the same place and do the same thing. You know what I mean? And I'm the opposite. I'm so used to change that I'm more like a change, addict. Change it up.
Yeah,
and what's great about acting is that if you're addicted to change, then that's great because every role is a different character with a different cast in a different location with a different life experience.
That's
unless,
very
of course,
true.
you're, unless you're Susan Lucci and you play Erica Kane for a gajillion years on All My Children. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And I love that. I love the variety of the experiences as an actor. You'll be in a different country, maybe a different state, a different city, with different people doing a different thing.
I think a lot of actors, when they start working a lot, I think that's probably one of the struggles they face because they realize, oh man,
we're moving.
We're moving. Okay, all right.
If you have the success that you want to have, that could mean that you're traveling a lot and
There's
things are
definitely
changing.
sacrifice.
Yes.
Yeah, I like that.
Changing.
Where did you start realizing, oh, I want to do a little bit of performance and acting and stuff like that?
Well, in the Korean handbook, you're not supposed to pretend for a living, right? In the Korean handbook, you're supposed to be a doctor, lawyer, engineer, or professor, right?
I'm so stupid. I was like, oh, there's a Korean
handbook?
Please tell me about this.
Not really, but the way that I feel like I was raised, right?
Yeah.
You're supposed to get straight A's, be valedictorian of your high school, which
Gotcha.
I was. Then you go to an Ivy League school, which I did. I went to Yale and I studied psychology. Then go into an Ivy League school to get an advanced degree. So I got a master's in cognitive psychology at Brown. And then, then you get a job and then you get married and then do you know what I mean? Like there's a linear path in life.
Absolutely.
And it was always a hobby of mine. I sang and danced in musicals in, I think, junior high school and high school and college, just for fun, sang, danced, acted.
Right.
But I never thought, and this will be my career. I thought I was going to be a psychology professor.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I thought I would do, because professor's on the list of 4 acceptable careers.
Ivy League professor or high school professor?
Oh, no, probably, Ivy League
yeah.
university professor.
I'm just trying to get specific with this handbook. Suzanne.
Yeah. And in the handbook, if you're a Korean female, the musical instruments you are allowed to play are piano, violin, flute, cello, I guess would be acceptable. But I wanted to play saxophone or drums, and that was no. So I played piano. I was forced to play classical piano for 7 years, from the ages of 9 to 16. And I hated every second of it. Now, I'm glad, in retrospect, that I can sight read music and I know music theory, and also the coordination that it took to be able to look at a piece of music and play it has made me a very fast typist. I could probably type 100 words a minute, which who knew in this day and age now? I didn't know then that would be such a valuable thing to be able to do, because nobody hand writes anymore, really. People are just typing all day, every day.
That's
to
impressive.
Communicate, right?
I'm making all these Korean handbook notes for my Korean children in the future. No, that's weird to say.
Are you planning to
adopt
Korean
just
children?
Strictly Korean.
Or have a Korean spouse?
No, I'd like to adopt Korean children. I heard it's the best.
Just to have the handbook?
Just the handbook. I feel it works. If I'm going to have children like you, why not, right? This is so weird. This is our weirdest episode to date.
Already.
My parents are like, what is Wissam talking about right now? They're going to call and say, you're not really thinking of adopting Wissam, are you?
And my mother would say, Susie, you have to tell him there's not really Korean handbook.
I think our parents would be like, oh, that would be a conversation. That's incredible. So something I'm noticing right off the bat. You're multifaceted. You're a multi-artist, and you're a multi-master of your crafts. Do you find it easier, the more crafts you're picking up, it's easier to pick up and learn newer things, or do you find yourself starting off at that white belt stage where you're completely new, completely green, and you're having a lot of struggles with your new stuff?
I think that some of the things I do, I've always had a natural ability for, and other things I embrace like a tabula rasa. For example, songwriting. I study songwriting with this amazing artist named Harriet Schock. Harriet Schock wrote the song Ain't No Way to Treat a Lady, which was Grammy nominated, and Helen Reddy made it famous, and none of you in this room probably know who Helen Reddy is.
I have all their albums.
All their albums.
I mean, her albums.
I know Helen Reddy, okay?
I'm trying to fit
Helen
in.
Reddy, I have all their albums. That's so adorable.
I love him.
So is he a drag queen? I met her at a women's writers salon, Harriet Schock, not Helen Reddy. And I was performing there. I had written a story, a true story from my life, and I was sharing it with the people at the salon. And Harriet came up to me and she said, I would love for you to take my songwriting class. I teach a songwriting class.
Right.
Now, I love music, and I love to sing, and I love to dance. I'm not that great at singing, but I love to sing. I am a good dancer, even though I'm not trained. But music has always been like my lifeblood. I don't understand when people don't constantly have some sort of music in their own head or playing wherever they are. You know, me in my car, at every stoplight, I've got some satellite radio station on, and I'm car singing and car dancing. I even got a yellow egg. Do you know what the percussion egg?
Oh, yeah.
It's like, you know what I'm talking about. don't you?
If I see it, I probably will know. A yellow egg, I just think of a yellow egg. I don't know.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
So this is me in my car at the stoplight, right? I'm listening to some music and I'm rocking out.
Sounds like Zydeco.
Anyway.
Not in a creepy way. Can I follow you around for a day?
But not in a creepy way?
Not in a creepy. I just want to hang out with you for a day.
Sure, okay.
All right.
Anyway,
Yeah,
okay,
back to the
so
story,
my point is, So my point is that she says you should take my songwriting class. I would love that. And I said, songwriting class? Because I know that people write songs, obviously, but I don't write songs. I don't write songs. And so I said, I don't know how to write songs. And she says, yeah, that's why there's a class. So I said, okay, but I've never written a song before. And she says, yes, come and I'll teach you how to write a song. And I thought, really? So I went in just completely, like you're talking about, white belt, if that is even a thing.
Yeah.
I'm not a good Asian. I don't know about the karate.
I'm
stuff,
big into martial arts.
okay.
But yeah, white belt, like green, totally green.
Right.
Yeah.
So I walked in thinking, I don't know. I said I would be coming in with no, and she said that would be great. You won't have any bad habits for me to fix, right? I said I'll be coming in completely like a blank slate, and it has been the most. So now I've written a bunch of songs. One of them actually was a rap song called "Blah Blah Cancer Blah Blah" that I wrote, and there's a YouTube video of it. There was a rant against when I first came out of the cancer closet. One of the challenging things about it, and there were many wonderful things about coming out about it, one of the challenging things was all the stupid shit people would say to me when they found out that I had cancer.
Right.
And so blah, blah, cancer, blah, blah was a rant, sort of an angry rant, dedicated to all the people who would say stupid shit to me like...
Like what?
Like, you're so skinny, you should, eat. Because I was going through chemo and radiation, and it was
Are those people? How do those people stay alive? Just
I know.
in general, exist,
I know.
survive.
And then some guy wrote to me, "Have you ever considered surgery, chemo, and radiation?" And I'm thinking, oh no, let me get my pen out and write that. How do you spell surgery? I mean, I went to 2 Ivy League schools. I'm the one with cancer. I've researched every possible thing that I can, find about this. And those 3 things that you're talking about are what most people already know, but thank you. But the most amazing one, which is probably the impetus for the rap song, was on Facebook. This guy, a friend, not someone I had met, sent me, posted, "You wouldn't have cancer if you accepted Jesus Christ as your personal savior."
Oh my God.
Oh, really? Wow. So there's never been a Christian with cancer? And by the way, he didn't even ask me what my religion was or my religious belief. He just said, you wouldn't have cancer if you accepted Jesus Christ as your personal savior. And I'm thinking, this is why people hate Christians when they hate Christians. and because of the, because Jesus would be mortified about stuff that's said and done in his name.
In his defense, though, whenever I heard Suzanne Whang, I was like, oh, that's a German atheist right there. Immediately. I'm just saying. Anyway. That's not true. I have to say, I have to follow up stuff, by the way, now, with "I'm just kidding" or "that's not true," because people will take you literal. They'll be like, he really thought she was a German atheist?
I won't.
I don't know.
I'm really scared when people, I have this alter ego named Sung-hee Park, who's fresh off the boat from Korea, and I do
love
this
her.
stand-up comedy routine as if she's fresh off the boat from Korea, and she's just naive and innocent, and she doesn't really know what she's saying because she doesn't know English that well, but she just really, really wants to make people laugh in America and make it in Hollywood, right? And she unwittingly starts to say racist and horrible things, but she doesn't know that it's bad. She just is like, yay, right? And people either love it and get that it's a satire about racism and stereotypes and prejudice in America, or they get super offended and they get up and leave because they think that my goal is to make racism worse in this country, which, let's think about this. Really, I've been on the receiving end of racism.
Yeah.
And why would I want to create art that would make things worse for me and everybody? It just doesn't make sense. But people can be strange.
Well, it's so funny you should say that about comedy. One of our listener questions today is some people have different levels of comedy, like how they find it offensive, or they'll be like, oh, you can talk about this, you can't talk about that.
Yes.
For you, should comedy be censored, or is it all or nothing type of thing with you?
My comedy or anybody's comedy?
Anybody's comedy.
No.
Like, should people, there should be a committee where they censor it?
No! Okay, I'm so glad we're talking about this. So I'm friends with Kelly Carlin. Kelly Carlin is George Carlin's daughter.
Yeah.
Certainly you know who George Carlin is.
Oh, yes.
Okay, good. Whew. I'm 52 now, so sometimes my references go thud, and I'm thinking, oh no.
He's a legendary R&B singer. Yes.
He's a German atheist.
I thought he was
Oh, he's
He's a
43rd
German
president.
atheist.
No.
Oh my God. So George Carlin, he has a whole routine about the 7 words you're not allowed to say. And I asked you in advance if I'm allowed to swear on this show, and you said yes.
Yes.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the words are shit, fuck, cock, cunt,
Oh my gosh,
motherfucker, cocksucker, and piss or something.
Yeah.
Right?
I missed all that.
Anyway, by the way, piss is one of those words, which is fascinating. And I've been on radio shows where they would give me a sheet of paper and say, if you say any of these words during the interview, our station will be charged $25,000 per offense.
Whoa.
And this is not a joke, and it's laminated, and they hand it to you. Right?
Wow.
I've been on these radio interviews before. I did one, I was at some public television station. Anyway, it was fascinating to me because I just thought, language is fascinating to me because it depends on the context, it depends on the intention,
Yes.
it depends on what part of the country you're in, it depends on slang, it depends on words change definition over time and across culture. So it's just fascinating to me that we're going to just take individual words and say it doesn't matter what the context is.
Right.
You cannot say any of these words. These words are bad. But that piss is on there. Piss is one of the words. So I can't say I'm pissed off, but I can say ram it up your asshole, you bitch. You know what I mean? Like ram
That's so
and
weird.
asshole and bitch and hell aren't on the list.
It's bizarre.
I mean, it's weird, right?
It's bizarre.
And so I don't believe that anything should be censored. I think that people who get offended have the choice. It's not like Clockwork Orange where his eyes are being propped open with, toothpicks and he has to watch something. No one's forcing you to listen to or watch
No, absolutely.
anything. So I don't believe in censorship. It makes me nauseous and one of the reasons why stand-up comedy appeals to me so much is it's the last pure art form left, meaning there is no committee. So there's no executives or director or producer or editor or censor on stage with you or even in your ear like you have an earpiece in telling you what you can and cannot say. So as a stand-up comedian on stage, I actually can say anything I want. As an actor, I'm saying other people's words. Right?
Right.
If I'm on television as a host on a network show, there's tons of stuff I'm not allowed to say.
Right.
Correct?
Yes.
But as a stand-up comedian on stage, I am by myself, and everything I say is just whatever the fuck I want.
Yeah.
And it's one of the things, it's sort of like, how Chris Rock has this evangelical sort of cadence to him?
Oh, interesting.
It's sort of like being a minister on a pulpit, and some of us use humor and we use irreverence to get our point across. My paternal grandfather, was a famous Korean minister, and he traveled the world preaching, and he was controversial for using humor in his sermons. And he said, only way get people stay awake every Sunday, to incorporate humor
Right.
and jokes into it, right? And I really love the fact that he would do that because laughter, as we know, it breaks down people's defenses, right? It levels the playing field. Mm-hmm. It makes it so that if I'm making you laugh, I might be able to sneak in a message that will be more effective than me saying, on a pulpit, just yelling at you and being super serious and telling you, what to do
Right.
and how to live your life. If I'm telling you some jokes or some stories and you're sort of open, I might be able to sneak my message in, and that's what he did. And I'm a big believer in the power of humor to bring us all to the same page, to raise our vibrational frequency, to level the playing field, and it also boosts your immune system. It's good for your abs. I mean, I'm sort of an uplaffment junkie. So instead of upliftment, using the power of laughter and comedy and humor.
What's your grandfather's Twitter?
Can I tell you about him?
Yeah,
So
please.
so he he did the Voice of America radio show, which is the U.S. government's official radio broadcasting network, and he had his own show. And
Awesome.
so he had people that listened to him all over the world. He also collected ancient musical instruments from countries all over the world when he would travel. He had, I think, 60 different ancient musical instruments from different countries all over the world, and learned how to play one song at least on every one of them. There would be like a potato that they turned into a pipe that they drilled some holes in, and you had to hold it a certain way and blow through. You know what I mean? Like he was amazing. He was an amazing human being. And again, he used humor in his sermons. And I was his favorite grandchild. He used to call me "You are my genius granddaughter." He would just brag about me all the time. He also didn't know that in America this means something bad, so he would always point at things. He'd be like, Suji, we have to go upstairs. And he'd be like, no, because he's a minister. It's no, don't do that. Also, when I was little and I was learning to read and write the Korean alphabet, I thought I would write him a happy birthday card in Korean. Right? I thought I was so proud of myself. So I'm a little kid and I'm writing happy birthday grandfather in Korean. The Korean word for grandfather is harabaji. Harabaji. I mistakenly wrote one vowel off. I wrote haraboji, right? Happy birthday. I gave it to him. He opens the card and he spits out what he's eating, and he falls off his chair and he's laughing hysterically and rolling around the floor. And I'm thinking it wasn't a funny card. You know what I mean? I wrote happy birthday, Grandpa. I love you. And so I don't understand. So my parents go and look at the card, and now they're screaming, crying, and I'm thinking, what is going on? So apparently, in Korean, boji means vagina.
Oh my god!
So in Korean, I had written "Happy Birthday, Grand Vagina." Isn't that what every minister wants to be called? But you know what I mean? Because he had a great sense of humor, instead of getting upset, he was just screaming, laughing. Anyway, so what I wanted to tell you is that years after he had retired from being a minister, he was asked to come back on the Voice of America radio broadcasting network and be interviewed about his life and legacy as a minister, right? So this is all happening in Korea. Let's say he's in his 70s, right? He hasn't been a minister for maybe, 10 years. And in Korea, they have this all set up like a conference room table like this, and he's sort of holding court being interviewed about his life and his ministry. And there's Korean international dignitaries, I think, and ambassadors and journalists and people all around, and they all get to ask him questions about his life. Yeah. So he's holding court and he's cracking jokes, and they all love him. So the last question that one of the people asks him is, this is all in Korean, and I've heard this all in Korean, but I'll translate for you. In Korean, he was asked, Reverend Whang, what is the secret to eternal life?
Yep.
And he says, here is the secret to eternal life, and his head thunk on the table. So you hear a thunk,
right,
and then you hear everybody laughing because obviously he's joking,
right,
and then you hear silence, and then you hear "어머나," which means "oh my God" in Korean. He had an aneurysm and died right at that moment on live radio in the most, what are you talking about, hilarious, dramatic, and profound way possible. Here's the secret to eternal life. Thunk. See ya. I'm out.
That seriously?
Seriously.
Oh my God, that's.
I am completely serious. That's how my amazing, funny, world-traveling minister grandfather left the planet.
I'm speechless right now.
And by the way, I never thought that I was funny. I mean, I knew I had a good sense of humor, but when I grew up, it was all about you're smart and you're fun and you're energetic and you get straight A's and people like you. You're kind, you're nice, but not. And maybe you're weird, but you're not funny.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I'd been acting for about 10 years, and it wasn't until studying acting at the Beverly Hills Playhouse here in LA where they encouraged people to, write your own stuff. You don't have to bring in, you don't have to come and do a Tennessee Williams scene or do Shakespeare or Ibsen. You could write something yourself if you want to. So I took the opportunity to try writing some stand-up comedy and just bring it out, and realized over time that I'm actually now channeling my grandfather.
That's incredible. We got to take a quick break.
Oh, okay.
But when we come back, I want to talk about some of your biggest struggles in LA, your most embarrassing moments in the on stage or in the business, and about the playing field, this class you teach.
Excellent.
Okay, we'll be right back. Almost 1 billion people on the planet do not have access to safe, clean water, and 4,100 kids under the age of 5 will die today from drinking dirty water. The Thirst Project is the world's leading youth water activism organization. This movement of high school and college students builds fresh water wells in developing nations and impoverished communities to provide people with safe, clean water. The Thirst Project is a nonprofit organization that travels across the United States speaking at schools to educate students about the global water crisis and challenge them to fundraise to build wells. In just 6 years, the Thirst Project has activated more than 300,000 students on 320 campuses across the United States who have raised $8 million, 100% of which has been used to give more than 260,000 people in 12 countries safe, clean water. For more information, visit thirstproject.org. We are back. Suzanne decided to stay with us and dance for a little bit, which I'm okay with. We couldn't stop her even if we tried. She threw the yellow egg at me, and I just stopped arguing with her. What you've been in the business for a while.
Yes.
You have had to have some embarrassing, struggling moments as an actor.
I don't have the typical life experience actually when it comes to anything. And what I mean by that is I did extra work on Spencer for Hire, which was a Boston cop show starring Robert Urich in the 1980s. I did extra work on one episode of Spencer for Hire when I was living in Boston.
Okay.
And it was just as a lark. I had a 9-to-5 job. And so I just called in sick from work and did extra work on Spencer for Hire. And this character actor named Arnie Cox, hi Arnie, he's in Florida.
Arnie, what's up, man?
He came over to me and said, "Who are you?" Because at the time in Boston, there were about 50 actors total in all of Boston. So they all knew each other. It was like a family.
Right.
So he says, "Oh, hi, I don't know you." And I say, "Hi, I'm Suzanne." He says, "I'm Ernie." And he said, "How come I haven't seen you, around before?" And I said, "Oh, no, I have a real job." I sort of insulted him without realizing it, but he didn't care.
Right.
He said, "No, here's what you need to do." And he writes down 10 things. You do these 10 things right away, and you'll be acting all the time in Boston.
Can we have those 10 things real quick?
Let's list those right now.
Absolutely. Except that let's not forget that this was Boston. There were 50 actors. If there were 50 actors in all of LA right now, each one of them would be working a lot more.
Right.
And of the 50, maybe 4 of them were Asian. And the Asians that were there were either models or they spoke with accents. And so there was basically me if they wanted an Asian woman who didn't have an accent, right?
Great.
So I started doing the things, and within a month I had quit my job. I was in Screen Actors Guild. And just to give you a sense of it, because I had natural ability and I was a big fish in a small pond, it was a wide open market for me. So commercials, industrials, small parts in TV shows or movies, it was there for me. I think of the first 20 auditions I went on, I booked 18 of them.
Whoa.
So in this case, my ignorance about the business is really hard was bliss for me because I would just go into the auditions and have fun.
Gotcha.
And
Yeah.
I started to think that auditions were just the fun thing you go to before you go and do the shoot. That's what I thought. And so I didn't have what might be a more typical experience for an actor, which is I've been on 100 auditions and I don't even get a call back and there's so much rejection and I'm so frustrated.
Right.
So I started out as somebody with natural ability, but then of course because I'm Asian, I'm thinking, I'm a fraud. I've never studied acting. I better study. And I'm really proud that I decided to then take classes and study and learn the craft of acting so that I would have something to back it up with so that it wouldn't feel like it was a fluke, that I was just sort of flying by the seat of my pants with some natural talent, but to really be able to do a part justice in film and television on stage, you better have some chops. So then I started to study. But that's why my experience isn't exactly the same as a lot of people when it comes to that world.
But you did say something which kind of resonates with me. There was a rawness, would you say, about you, a natural truth that came out in those auditions.
Yes.
And something that's fresh from the mundane people who are in there like shaking, like, I gotta do this.
Yes.
I gotta have this. And
Yes.
then you come in and it's like, hey guys.
Hey! Yes.
So there's like
I'm
that
just
contrast.
a person in a room.
Exactly.
And casting directors can smell fear and desperation, and it has an odor, and they don't like it, and they don't want you on their set.
Yeah.
And I had no fear because what did I have to be afraid of? I'm just having fun. There's no desperation because I didn't know that I was supposed to be desperate because no one told me that this was going to be difficult.
Right.
So I just would walk in like I would if I was the new kid in school as a kid. Hi, what's your name? I'm Susie. Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
I don't know. You
It's
know,
being
just
yourself. It's the best part.
yes. And so that's why I think I did so well. Then, of course, you start to study your craft, and what would happen would be if I started to get auditions for things that I really, really wanted, then it's this horrible thing that happens, which is the dichotomy of I really want this. So instead of going in all loose and open and free, it's easy to go in like, oh, hi,
Right.
hi, do you, hi, I don't know what to do with my, like in Talladega Nights when Will Ferrell when he's being interviewed,
Yeah.
and it's like, what are you doing? I don't know what to do with my hands. It's like,
I don't know if we can catch this on camera. I've been having this problem, Jordan, lately, where, yeah, we're going to catch this on camera. It's fine.
what are you doing?
Like, I don't know, like my arm space, sometimes, like if I'm not really focused or whatever.
Are they out like that?
That's what I feel. I'm like, or for headshots, that's what I was doing recently, headshots, and I was like this. I don't know if we can get myself on camera, probably, where I was just like,
Are you like hunched forward? You don't know what you're
I don't know
doing?
what I was doing. I was like, I told the photographer. It was a really cool session. I was like, hey man, I feel really like weird with my hands. Can I sit down? And as soon as I sat
Stop
down,
me.
I felt more grounded. And
Yes.
it
Somebody
worked out a
stop
little
me,
better.
my arms.
Yes. And another thing I will tell you about success in show business for me is that I was blessed with parents my parents are still alive, still married to each other, still love each other, and are all gushy face, hold hands and kiss and hug.
Yeah.
But every day of my childhood, they kissed me and hugged me and told me that they love me and that I'm wonderful and that I can accomplish anything that I want to in the world. And even if they didn't say that verbally, that was the unspoken communication to me. So it never occurred to me that I couldn't accomplish anything that I wanted to in the world. And they instilled in me this feeling of unconditional love and support no matter what was going on with me. So my self-esteem doesn't roller coaster with I got a part, I didn't get a part. That audition went well, it didn't go well. My self-esteem is still fine. And so for some people who are getting into acting because they want other people to tell them how awesome they are to then get self-esteem, it's really challenging because then you don't get a part and now you're suicidal, and then you get a part and then you're ecstatic. It leads to sort of a manic depressive kind of a thing, right?
Oh, yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Jordan.
No, I was gonna. No, go ahead. You go
Anyway,
ahead.
what you just
I
said.
have a question about it after.
Okay.
Okay. There is a philosophy book. I'm big on philosophy.
Yes.
It's Hermes. It's written by Hermes Trismegistus, and he talks about that where you shouldn't be like a pendulum with your emotions. If something good happens and you get superly ecstatic, when something bad happens, that ball is going to swing to the opposite side.
Right. And it's the same as Don Miguel Ruiz's book, The Four Agreements, when he says don't take anything personally. And what he means by that is, I don't know if you guys have noticed over the course of your lives, but the things that people say and do more often tell you about them than they say something about you, right? And so the point of that is not just to not take some horrible insult personally and then go, oh, that person called me a name, right? But also when someone tells you, when you get some great review of your work, to not also then go skyrocketing.
Oh, that's such good advice.
Right?
Yeah,
because that person, you're looking outside of yourself for a feeling of serenity and joy and self-love, and that will just never work. And it's why a lot of actors, I think, quit the business or turn to drugs and alcohol or a way to numb or medicate the pain that they feel emotionally from doing this kind of thing around what happens in the industry. Instead of looking for, if you're into philosophy, a sort of spiritual, metaphysical, inner way to find self-love and being okay and a peace, whether it's through meditation or exercise or whatever works for you. to feel good about yourself no matter what.
This could be a whole nother podcast session, by the way. This whole metaphysical, like, from the inside, finding happiness and not letting your given circumstance dictate whether you're on this neutral, kind of peaceful, Zen-like state.
Yes.
Because that's where I find when I'm in that state, I'm most focused, and it's like, I don't know, true happiness. I don't know how to explain it.
And when you're in that state and you walk into an audition, you're golden. Right?
Because you're worried about the part, the role you're playing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Put everything into the authenticity of what it is that you're doing and your love of the craft of acting. If you really love acting and you start to think of auditions as an opportunity to act, and just in and of itself, oh, I get to act today. How delicious. And then go home and occupy yourself with something else. And don't stare at the phone going, did I get it? Did I get it? Do they like me? Am I good? Am I pretty? Do they think I'm talented? Are they going to pay me money? You know, all that stuff.
I shouldn't do that? You're saying I shouldn't do that, right?
No, that obsession. And by the way, treat auditions like first dates. Can you imagine being on a first date and saying, just when you walk in the room, hi, do you like me? Do you think we'll fuck later? Do you want to marry me? What do you think our kids will look like? Oh my God, please like me, because I never have guys like me. But if that's what you bring into an audition, you would never do that on a first date, I would hope. You wouldn't go, I'm so desperate. I'm desperate on this date.
Change my dating habits.
But you're reminding me of one of my favorite stories is a Zen Buddhist story. There's a Zen Buddhist walking through the forest, and he's communing with nature, and it's a beautiful sunny day, and he's having the best time, all serene and peaceful. And this abusive, angry man comes up to him and starts to, yell at him and swear at him and insult him and degrade him and blah, 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 right? And the whole time the Zen Buddhist seems to be fine and just still smiling and happy and serene. So eventually the abusive man just walks off in a huff.
Right.
Now, there's a third man in the forest who has witnessed this entire interaction, and he walks up to the Zen Buddhist and says, I'm sorry, I did not mean to eavesdrop, but that man was horrible to you, and somehow you seem fine. How is that possible? And the Zen Buddhist says, let me ask you a question. If I get you a gift, and I wrap it up, and I present it to you, and you refuse to accept it, who would it belong to? And the man said, it would still belong to you. And the Zen Buddhist said, exactly. I just chose not to accept his gift.
Boom!
Ooh.
Some knowledge!
Whoa! Now, easier said than done. But if we think of verbal abuse or any sort of, emotional tyranny kind of as something that we have the choice at any given moment to say of taking in and eating it and drinking it and rubbing it all over our bodies and feeling terrible, or we can say, oh, you know what? No, thanks. You can keep that. It's so powerful to just say, no, thanks. You can keep that.
Let's practice.
Yeah?
Yeah, let's go.
Yeah, you know what? You're an untalented piece of shit scumbag who I don't know what you think you're doing here with this podcast, but you should just give up.
I choose not to accept your gift. Get the fuck out of here, Suzanne! I don't know who you think you are! I'm amazing! I start crying. That get weird.
But here's the thing. If I said to you, you are a green pineapple, you probably wouldn't be offended by that because you know you're not.
Right.
Right? Yeah. You're such a green pineapple, you'd go, what? And you just think I'm stupid, right? But if you don't have any open wounds, no one can throw salt in them to bother you. So the point is, if you have any sort of open wounds that you're walking around with, it is your job to heal them up and be like a redwood tree. A redwood tree has a huge trunk and has roots that go all the way to the core of the earth and is majestic. And the redwood tree doesn't give a fuck what the conditions are around it. It is just gorgeous and majestic. I used to be like a feather. I used to be like if someone walked in the room, I'm like, someone walked in the room with their energy, or like one of those, at the auto dealership, the inflatable, the guy who's like, whoa!
I can't right now.
I used to be like, right?
I'm still laughing at the green pineapple thing.
Right?
I'm sorry because it's a such a non sequitur that I just. Anyway, sorry.
Yes,
Continue.
but it's a non sequitur in that someone can't insult you if the thing they're saying to you sounds absurd to you and there's no element of truth in it.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
But if there's a little element of truth, which means you have an open wound, then it's your job not to engage with them or try to convince them that you're not a green pineapple or whatever it is. Your job is just to...
I'm sorry. I know I'm ruining this part, but it's
You're
just
not
too much.
ruining it. That's fantastic.
He cannot get over
At first I
that
thought
you
he was
called him a green
crying.
pineapple. Yeah, he's offended by the green pineapple. It actually...
If I'm ever in a confrontation on the road, I'm gonna roll down my window.
You're such a green pineapple!
Because they're gonna be so confused for the rest of the day.
Yes, that's what's so awesome. Is
Okay.
that that's what you can do? Like in road rage, when people are like this, I'll go, hi. Like if you accept something not the way that it's intended, it's so much fun. Like if someone comes up to you and
man.
says something awful and you go, no, thank you,
That's
they don't know what to do. And by the way,
Yeah.
what happens is, if you do accept it and get all upset and cry and implode, now they get happy. If you say no thanks, you can keep that, their head explodes because they still have that awful, do you know what I mean,
Gotcha.
energy.
Yeah.
So don't accept the gift. You actually have a choice at any given moment to say no thanks, you can keep that. Why don't you hang on to that?
right.
Yay!
I totally get it, and
Yeah.
it's such it takes practice, and I
It
encourage
does.
our listeners
Takes
to practice that.
Practice saying no thanks, you can keep that.
You are. I want to say first off, congratulations! I'm so happy that you beat cancer.
Cancer free.
Cancer free. Cancer
Stage
thriver.
4. Stage 4. And I don't like the word survivor, and people don't understand that. Here's what I mean.
Oh,
by
I said
that.
thriver.
You did.
Yeah, thriver. Yeah.
And I want to explain why
Yeah.
I don't like survivor. Is because to me, a survivor sounds like I just barely hanging on by a thread, like like that, and I'm not like that. I am actually happier and healthier than I was before I ever got cancer. So what? Because of everything that I learned in my journey, I only believed in Western medicine before this journey because that's how I was raised. And then through my whole life experience over the past, I had breast cancer 3 times in the last 8 years because, like most Asians, I'm an overachiever. What? Yellow power in the house. Anyway, it went to stage 4, and stage 5 is you're dead, so stage 4 is the worst. And 3 years ago, a lot of oncologists said, you have about 6 months to live. And I said, no, thank you. You can keep that.
Yeah.
No thanks. You can keep that diagnosis.
Gotcha.
I don't
Great.
accept that. So I did some Western medicine, some Eastern, some alternative, some holistic, some revolutionary treatments, an illegal treatment. I went to Italy. I went $500,000 into debt from cancer treatments that were not covered by insurance, because a lot of things that work and help are not covered by insurance, because other than surgery, chemo, and radiation, a lot of things aren't covered. But I also changed. I started to meditate, and I started to eat healthy. There's a great book called Skinny Bitch. It's not about becoming skinny or being a bitch.
It's not kick bitch, is it?
It's kick. Would you like some kick bitch? They don't even know what we're talking
I
about
know,
now.
but that's fine.
All right,
I'll tell them another
you'll
time.
just fill them
Yeah.
in later. Anyway, I changed what I eat, what I drink, what I think. I laughed a lot. I had to come out of the cancer closet. In Asian culture, it's considered, I don't know if it's like this in Syria, it's considered really tacky and low class to air your dirty laundry in public and admit that you have a problem, like cancer. That's shameful. Don't tell people about your stuff. We're supposed to walk around and be like, no, everything perfect. No, don't worry.
right.
I'm perfect. Everything happy, good, and it's just bullshit. So I kept it a secret except for my family and close friends, that I had cancer for 5 years. And when I finally decided to go public about it, I got this huge outpouring of love and support. Because up until this moment, most people I know who have or had breast cancer are women who spent their whole lives taking care of and fixing and saving and helping everybody else and not taking care of themselves. So the journey for me was about learning to slow down, ask for and receive help, and actually stay still. I was floored. I was in my bed at my house for 3 months. I couldn't move.
Oh, gosh.
And so I had to ask people to come over and help me. And I used to be sort of a hermit, meaning I'm a very social person, but when I got to my house, I wanted to be by myself, like my private sanctuary.
Right.
But after I came out of the cancer closet, I got to feel like Jimmy Stewart at the end of It's a Wonderful Life. Do you guys know the movie? And then at the end, you know, all the townspeople come in and just to support him.
Amazing.
And so every single person I thought was my friend in LA, it turns out they really were. And people came over and were scrubbing my floor while I'm recovering from all these different treatments. They're scrubbing my floor and they're walking my dog and bringing food over and telling me jokes and singing songs and doing a dance and whatever it was. And it was unbearable for me at first. They'd come over and I'd be like, I can't take it. And then but that was my huge life lesson. And I thought that I didn't want to burden my friends. And here's what they said. Not only are you not burdening us, but we're ecstatic to finally reciprocate. When we're not doing well, we tell you and you rush in and love us back to life. When you're not doing well, you don't tell us, so we don't get the joy of really knowing who you are, what's really going on with you. We don't get the joy of rushing in and loving you back to life until now. So it's about time because you've been gypping us. And I never thought of it that way. I thought I was doing them a favor. But of course, people, because of Facebook and Twitter, fans from all over the world started sending money to my PayPal account because of the financial thing. And I thought, oh, that's pathetic. At first I thought, that's pathetic. And I used to be this really, successful TV host and actor, and now I'm some pathetic charity case. And I just got to discover that with all the charity work that I used to do, I never thought of the recipients of whatever I was doing as pathetic. I thought these people just need help right now. And just to let that all in, like I would get, I don't know, a check for $50 from some fan in Bulgaria because of social media, and I would just start bawling. Somebody who's never met me, who just heard about my story, who just wanted to flow me some love, and I was literally loved back to life.
It's so amazing, your mental strength and your inner strength, your soul strength. It's a really deep thing what you experienced, and it's beautiful. It's one of those few things in life that's real. You can't touch it, but you feel it, and and more importantly, you know it up here. It's in your mind. This is like one of those few moments in life where it's like, man, this is what life is. This is the beginning of what life is really about. Yeah. The truth.
Yep.
There are no words right now for me to say other than that. That's beautiful, and you're so lucky to have experienced that. Yes. To go from that up and down, like you are so blessed, and back up and just be who you are today. No matter what happens in your life, in anybody's life, life is beautiful. The good, the bad, and everything in between.
Yes.
It shows too in your person. Like you're such an upbeat, positive person, and it's.
Even with the German atheist thing coming through, it's so.
The fact that
I'm
you're
the
a green
most
pineapple.
likable green pineapple German atheist you've ever met.
I'm gonna cry from the green pineapple thing. I don't know why. This is crazy. We gotta wrap up soon. You teach a class called The Playing Field.
Oh, okay.
Briefly, let's talk about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, people have been asking me to teach classes for a long time, and I thought, because I'm a commitment phobe, the idea of, 3 times a week I have to be in a certain place at a certain time because people want me to be there. And I also didn't know what I would teach. Would I teach acting or stand-up comedy or songwriting or keynote speaking or I don't know, television hosting technique? What would I teach? And I heard a voice say, teach everything. And I thought, well, what does that even look like? What does that mean? There's no template for that. There's no precedent for it. And then sometimes when I come up with the name for something, it helps me. So I came up with the name The Playing Field. The word play is in it because I wanted it to be for artists of any type to have the spirit of play, to come and have a sacred, safe space to stretch and grow and try new things or resurrect a broken dream or start a new dream or polish up a dream that's going really well. And you can come in and do an acting monologue or tell some jokes or do an interpretive dance or juggle or do a keynote speech or whatever you want to do. Also, if you're a professor, I have a biology professor who's really smart, but she was terrified she didn't know how to communicate what she knew.
Right.
She went from being considered the worst biology professor at her university to now the best professor because she's tapped into her unique voice and her personal stories and her sense of humor are coming through now. So it's once a week. It's at this great theater called the Missing Piece Theater in Burbank, where artists of any type can come in and bring 7 minutes of whatever they want to bring in. And then I will give them basically a one-on-one coaching feedback session on whatever it is, because it's my belief that unexpressed emotion and unexpressed creativity lead to so many problems for human beings.
Absolutely.
And I want to provide a safe, sacred space for that, which is the antidote to, there's a bunch of classes where the teacher is an egomaniac who likes to insult and degrade and, I'm going to tear you down and then build you up. No, we don't need that. And by the way, if that's what you're looking for, there's plenty of those classes where they tell you, you do a monologue and they say, that was shit, go home and slit your wrists.
Oh.
If that's what you're looking for, you can find that. The playing field is the antidote to that. The playing field is come and unzip your soul and have the courage to be vulnerable. I will blow on the embers of whatever you've brought and we'll turn it into, this beautiful blazing fire of creativity coming uniquely from you.
What a beautiful picture.
And it's one of my favorite things I've ever done with my life.
If they want to find how to get in touch with you for the playing field,
They can email me at gookwaffle@gmail.com.
Let me just.
That chops the green.
Can I just say, when John Vera referred me to you and he wrote down your email, I was like, no, that's a typo. I was like, hey man, can you
No.
send me the real one? And he's like, that's her email.
But here's the thing: it's by design. So if words can be used to hurt me, I can also reinterpret and repurpose any word I want to. So that word used to be used to hurt me.
Right.
So then I decided, what if I overused it to desensitize myself to it and change the meaning and power of the word for myself? So I started signing my emails "Yours Gookly" or "In Gooks We Trust" or "America's Favorite
Oh
Gook"
my gosh,
or
that's
whatever.
amazing.
And I tell my
Really?
friends to call me, "What's up, my Gook?" or "Gookie," and my email's Gook Waffle. So now, honestly, I've changed it into a term of endearment. And so now the word makes me happy. So now you cannot hurt me with that word.
I'm still gonna call you Suzanne, though. Is that okay?
That's okay. And I'm going to call you Green Pineapple.
That's fine with me. You're on the Twitter, correct?
I'm on the Twitter at Suzanne Whang, WHANG. I'm on the Facebook.
Facebook, and you have a wonderful
I
website
have
as
a
well.
wonderful website.
Suzanne Whang.
SuzanneWhang.com.
SuzanneWhang.com. Thank you for coming on the show.
Yay!
Do you have any last advice to actors out there?
Oh, geez.
I mean, the whole, yeah. Take your class.
Do it, yes, take my class. Do it because you love it, not to get famous, and work on whatever you need to work on, even if you didn't have awesome parents like me, to reparent yourself and take care of yourself so that you feel good about yourself and make that the most important thing that you do. That way, anything that happens in your career, if it's going like this, you will be fine.
Wow.
Great.
That was an okay episode.
It'll do in a pinch.
We'll have to edit around it. It's
Mediocre. Make it work.
totally kidding on that. Jordan, thanks for co-hosting and engineering as always.
Love being here.
Your Twitter?
Jordan Burbank 7.
That's your real name, Burbank?
Yes, it is.
Shut the front
Not-
door. Okay.
Special
I'm the
shout
mayor,
out
actually,
to
the
our
mayor.
yeah.
Yeah.
Special shout out to our new social media coordinator, Nicole Boucher. Nicole, come onto the frame.
Nicole
Come
into
Boucher.
frame.
Hi.
That's enough, Nicole.
Too much screen time, too much screen
Oui, oui, oui.
감사합니다.
He just said thank you in Korean. That was brilliant.
If they can find you on
Yeah.
Twitter,
Yes.
speak
At
into the microphone.
Nikki592. NIKI592.
Nikki will be handling all of our social media.
I will.
Nikki could
henceforth.
not possibly be more adorable. I want to chew your face off. Her, she's like so cute.
I've seen cuter.
I quit.
I give her such a hard time because she gives me a hard time.
we all do, we say.
I know,
we all do.
everybody. I work with a great team. I'm very thankful to have you guys here. So lucky and fortunate to be working with two very professional and driven artists. Everybody here at GVB Radio, Gabe, thank you so much. You can find me at WeSamKeish or WeSamKeish.com. The podcast, Actors Anonymous Podcast.com. Yeah, that's right. And always
Sure.
remember to listen, think, and then talk. Thanks for listening.